First, let's start with this case. This year, I hosted both a family Thanksgiving dinner and a Friendsgiving. The family gathering was a last-minute arrangement, while I had planned the Friendsgiving well in advance. Since my house has the most space, my parents decided to have the family Thanksgiving at my place, making me the host. I asked everyone to please not smoke in the house and to step outside if they wanted to. One of my family members, whom I consider both a sister and a friend, attended both gatherings. She and her boyfriend went into my master bedroom during the family Thanksgiving and smoked there, using my perfume to try to cover up the smell of their activities, including vaping and smoking. Later, she started vaping in the kitchen, so I asked her to stop and reminded her to go outside if she wanted to smoke. After the family dinner, I texted her privately to reiterate my request for the upcoming Friendsgiving. I asked her not to smoke in the house or come in reeking of the smell like she had during Thanksgiving. I told her that smoking outside and spraying some perfume or cologne before coming back in would be fine. Her response surprised me. She said I was essentially telling her not to use her medication while at my house and that I didn't understand her feelings. I told her I respected everyone's ways of managing their needs, but that I was just asking her to smoke outside. She argued that the smell wouldn't make my house dirty and accused me of overreacting. I tried to explain my perspective and emphasized that it's my house and my rules. However, she kept pushing back, refusing to acknowledge my feelings. Eventually, I told her not to come to Friendsgiving because I didn't want to deal with the same issues again. Am I wrong for asking her not to smoke in my house and uninviting her to Friendsgiving? Let's start judging. You're not in the wrong. It's your house, your rules. You told her politely, and if she couldn't respect that, it's on her. She could have smoked outside, but she ignored you. Honestly, sounds like she was testing your boundaries. You're not in the wrong. She was total idiot. It is incredibly rude to smoke in a home when told not there by the owner. Especially weed, where some folks can get in trouble if they get a contact high or MJ is detected in a test. Even if it was a cigarette, it is rude to smoke when asked not to. Same for vaping. It is rude to light up in public in front of other non-smokers, and also without asking if it is okay. Smoke of all types causes health issues for many people, and vaping is not benign either. I see people vaping/smoking at places like crowded public parks and zoos with children nearby. Irks me because no one should have to be at risk for an asthma attack, just so someone needs a hit fix. You're not in the wrong. Smoking anything in someone's home when asked not is extremely disrespectful, and they wasted your perfume. Also, your ask for no smoking is completely reasonable. A lot of people don't like that. I have smoked and would never do it in my home. Not cigarettes, not weed, not vapes, because all smoke penetrates fabric fibers and lingers. But here's the thing. Even if what you requested of the guests in your home was slightly unreasonable, people should still respect it, because they are guests in your home. Next up, I, 32 female, have always enjoyed gift giving. But this year, my sister, 34 female, has made the process feel more like a transaction than a tradition. Yesterday, she created a group chat with me and our brother, 26 male, to organize our Christmas lists so she could take advantage of Black Friday deals. I quickly put together a list with a mix of specific items, with links, and more general suggestions like board games or wool underwear, as it gets very cold where we live. My brother did the same, and my sister also sent her list, which included a few open categories and several specific links with details like size and color. We agreed on a $100 budget and got to work. This morning, I ordered the bedding she requested, in the right size and color, along with a smaller gift from one of her open categories, totaling about $80. I plan to pick up a little something extra to round out her gift later. However, this afternoon, my sister announced in the group chat that she no longer wanted the bedding because she had found and purchased a different set she liked better. I asked her, if someone had already bought the bedding, would you still want it or prefer it returned? She replied that she would prefer I return it and buy her something she actually wanted. At this point, I told her, okay, but this is starting to feel like a transaction, like online shopping with a middleman. My sister got upset and said she was tired of receiving gifts she doesn't want or need, and that if I felt that way, I didn't need to buy her anything at all. She added that she had already spent 4 hours shopping that day to find the perfect gifts for everyone, including me. While I planned to get her a Christmas gift, this situation has taken the joy out of the process for me. I usually love finding thoughtful presents for the people I care about, but this has made it feel impersonal and tedious. Am I wrong for pointing out that this ruins the spirit of gift giving? Let's start judging. You're not in the wrong. I feel like if you put something on your Christmas list and share it, you really shouldn't go and buy it for yourself at that point. It makes more work for the person who now has to return a gift and buy something else. You're not in the wrong all the way. What teef does she mean that she was tired of getting things she doesn't want or need? She literally asked for the bedding. She can't expect you to read her mind. You're not in the wrong. My sibs and I quit buying for each other many years ago because after a certain point it just became either too difficult or too transactional. Not saying this is the way for everybody, but we all felt like, at a certain point, if we really wanted something, we would buy it for ourselves. Receiving it as a gift just feels like payment for buying the other one something from their list. Easier to get what we want for ourselves and spend the budget on that gift for something else you like to do over the holidays. Charitable giving, put it towards a good night out, spend more on your kids, whatever. It's fun if you know someone well enough to be spontaneous and buy something that is not on a list, but it's such a risk most of the time. Next up, I-27 female recently told my mom, 57 female, that I wouldn't let her move in with me, even though she has cancer and can't work because of it. Now my family is accusing me of being heartless. To provide some context, my mom and I have always had a tense relationship. Growing up, as soon as I was old enough to do chores, she stopped doing them altogether. By the time I was 10, my brother, 29 male, and I were responsible for everything in the house: cooking, cleaning, laundry, and more. If we didn't do it, it simply didn't get done. Once we started working, we also paid most of the bills. On top of that, my mom has made many poor health choices over the years. She smokes 3 packs of cigarettes a day, doesn't manage her diabetes, and ignores her doctor's advice. Despite everyone around her urging her to take better care of herself, she refuses. When I went to college at 18, I got my first real taste of freedom. However, when I came back home for the summer, it was unbearable. I was expected to go right back to doing everything, and my mom was so inconsiderate, loud at all hours, and generally difficult to live with. I moved out immediately after the summer ended and vowed not to live with her again. Over the years, my mom's health deteriorated due to her choices. She neglected her diabetes, refused to quit smoking, and avoided making any lifestyle changes to lose weight. Her inability to work meant she couldn't pay her bills, and my brother and I often had to step in financially. She never adjusted to being self-sufficient after we moved out, and the cycle of relying on us continued. Now, my mom has cancer, which is likely a result of her lifestyle. She can't work and needs somewhere to live. She first asked my brother, but he declined because he has a baby and simply can't accommodate her. Then she asked me. I said no. My partner and I own a small house with 2 bedrooms, but we don't have the space or the mental capacity for her to move in. I also know that if I take her in, it won't just be temporary. If she goes into remission, she still won't leave. Taking her in now would mean taking her in for life, and I'm not willing to do that. My family found out about my decision and started calling me heartless, accusing me of abandoning my mom in her time of need. But living with her in the past severely impacted my mental health, and I can't go through that again. I've tried to help her in countless ways, but she refuses to help herself. She has always relied on others to carry her, and I know that if she moves in, she will never take steps to become independent again. I don't want to have to evict my own mother someday, but I also don't want to invite her into my life and make my home miserable. Am I wrong for refusing to take in my mother with cancer? Let's start judging. You're not in the wrong. Tell any family who suggests you are abandoning your mom that they are welcome to take her in. I've heard that being a caregiver is one of the hardest jobs out there. It is emotionally draining and physically exhausting. You'd probably have to quit your job. If you're not emotionally in it, you won't be a good caregiver to your mom, and you'd be an idiot to yourself and partner. It is okay to prioritize your mental health. You're not in the wrong. Was ready to tear you a new one, but with all the relevant info, you are 100% right to not take her in. Your family who are calling you heartless should be taking her in. If they ask you again why you are not taking her in or giving you shit for not taking her in, if you feel this strongly about family having to take her in, I assume you will take her in then? I'll let her know she can move in with you guys. She has never been a mother to you and your siblings, because that stuff doesn't stop as soon as a child can do laundry or sweep the floor. She has lived a very unhealthy lifestyle and refused to make any changes, and is still refusing to make changes despite being very ill. She will never change. Smoking is 100% a deal breaker for me. I will not live with someone who smokes no matter if they only smoke outside or they only vape. Secondhand and third-hand smoke is harmful, besides just being nasty. You don't have to put up with that for anyone. And if she's lucky and survives for another 10 or 20 years, she will remain dependent on you. It will cost you your mental health, your money, and your relationship. She can go to the local government and ask for help. Maybe they have a small council flat they can put her in. No matter what anyone says, do not take her in, because I promise you'll regret it for the rest of your life. It'll break you, your relationship, and your mental health forever. I do not care if they say you're selfish. You did everything for her when you lived with her, and she got herself here. She gave herself cancer. This wasn't a sad accident, or just one of those things where some people get it even if they're healthy. She deliberately neglected her health for decades, and this is no one's fault but her own. Do not take her in. You're not in the wrong. Next up, I, 26, female, have been giving my mom a set amount of money every month to help with her expenses. She's retired and receives a pension, but she insists it's not enough to cover her costs, and says it's my duty as her daughter to contribute financially. My sister and her husband provide my mom with more money than I do, even though they have a baby to care for. This makes me feel guilty, especially since they frequently remind me that they manage to give more despite their additional responsibilities. This month, I decided not to give my mom the usual amount because I had planned a 10-day vacation with my fiancé to another city. Technically, I could have gone on the trip while still sending her the money, but I wanted to have extra spending cash to fully enjoy my time away. I informed her a few days before my trip that I wouldn't be able to send her the money this month. She responded by saying that no matter what, it's my responsibility to support her financially. Since then, her attitude toward me has been cold and distant. This isn't the first time she's reacted this way when I couldn't or chose not to send her money. For context, my mom receives a pension of $1,400 US. We live in Colombia, where the cost of living is lower than in the US, but she says it's still not enough. I contribute $250 US monthly, while my sister gives her double that amount and covers additional expenses, like the electricity bill. My mom lives alone in a large apartment that she owns, which is more expensive to maintain than a smaller one. To be honest, I don't send her money out of the kindness of my heart anymore. I do it to avoid family drama and to keep the peace. Whenever I've tried to set boundaries or say I'll help only when I can, she becomes resentful, cold, and distant. My sister and other family members also make me feel like a terrible person if I don't send money every month. I feel torn. I wanted to prioritize myself and my vacation for once, but now I feel guilty for making that choice. Am I wrong for skipping my monthly contribution to my mom to have more financial freedom on my trip? Let's start judging. You're not in the wrong. Children are under no obligation to pay their parents' bills. Maybe help them when you can, but make sure you're taking care of your own finances first. Savings. Given that you're 26, I'm guessing your mother has years to go before she's considered elderly. Why isn't your mom asking her children for money anyway? Is she permanently disabled? You get to enjoy yourself. It's your money, not hers. As for sister, since she's a two-income household, they're able to give more than you. But again, why is your mom expecting either of you to support her? You're not in the wrong. You are being used and guilted to take care of your mother, not only by your mother, but your sister and her husband as well. I'm curious as to how much her pension is. My income is my income, and that is what I live on. While helping her out sometimes is nice, doing it monthly seems excessive. You're not in the wrong. She's a narcissist, and you have been born and bred her victim. The guilt you feel is manufactured, and her shaming and guilt trips are purposeful manipulation. It is not your responsibility as a child to take care of your parent. Rather, it is the opposite. You do not owe your parents anything, especially with the situation seeming like she is lying. There is no way she is unable to cover her basic payments. She must be overspending and making you purchase all her luxuries. Check out our Raised by Narcissists. Edit. Her pension is $1,400 USD in Colombia, which is like 7,000 USDs in America. And she is taking payments from your brother? Absolute liar. She doesn't need nothing. Cease paying her anything now, or forever be a fool.